Hello, all you degenerate old schoolers, and welcome back to another episode of The Orb. Tonight we're watching more X Points. We just finished up LobsterCon X Points tournament. I got two more X Points videos from the monthly. I think this is 44-ish, maybe 45, who knows, I can't keep track. It's the monthly, it just finished up. We have Felix and Matt here slinging cards, doing mean things to each other. So they've done very well in their pods. Like I said, this is the top 16. So we'll get through these videos and then we'll move on to the LobsterCon old school main event. I know everyone is ready for that. Hopefully at the beginning of next week, I'll have some of those videos pumped out. As always, if you can, make it to the Forest Cup coming up in St. Louis, February 1st. You can contact Noah Steinbaum. He's on my last video, the poster. And if you need contact info, you can always hit me up. So, on to the decks. Here's a look at Matt's deck. As we can see, he has his points buried in the bottom right. Ancestral, Regrowth, Recall, Mana Drain, and 2 Maze of Ith. And then he's got an absolute pile of land above him. With 2 of his points being in the Maze of Ith, and then he's got a Candelabra to untap and reuse those. And we look through the other half of the board here, and his real win condition is Serra Angels, 4 Ivory Towers, Sylvan Libraries, and Sindbad's pair super well together. I've run that combination a few times, and once you get them down, you got a heck of a draw engine going. Matt knows how to use this real effectively. He has a playset of counter spells in there, Disenchants and Swords for spot removal, 1 Control Magic, and 2 Moat. So he wants to only let things fly through the air, gain a bunch of life, and then swing in for the win once he has you back on your heels. In his sideboard, he's got 3 Blue Elemental Blast, a couple Karma for the black decks, 3 Ice Storm, 2 Energy Flux, an extra Control Magic, a Felton's Cane for those really long games. He doesn't mind shuffling up and playing over again. The 4th Disenchant, a COP Black, and a COP Red. So, very well-rounded deck. I like this deck. I ran something very close to this with Urnums in mind instead of the Ivory Towers. His is a little bit more control-ish. Again, I really like this. I can't wait to see it play. Now, let's take a look at his opponent's deck, Felix. And here's a quick look at the pile Felix is on. As we can see, he's running a total of 22 lands. One of them being a Maze of Ith, that counts for a point. A Regrowth's another point. 5 into the Ancestral Recall. A Wrath of God, and 2 more into the Moat. That makes out his X points, or his 10 points. Other than that, it's a lot of removal. He has some burn in the form of bolts, lightning bolts, and side blasts. 1 Fireball, and as we stand back, this looks a lot like Matt's deck. Felix just didn't bother putting in the Serra Angels or the Sindbads. Again, instead he opted in for some of that direct damage. Board clears and creature stoppers, he's got a ton of. Swords, as I mentioned, the Wraths, the Moats, 2 of the Abyss. I'm sorry, and that makes up the last 2 points. The Abyss do, not the Moats, because those don't count towards your point total. 2 Sylvan Libraries. And again, he wants to draw a bunch of cards. He doesn't mind doing it with a Sylvan because he has 4 Ivory Towers out there. He'll just load his hand up and draw extra cards as he needs to. He main decks a Felton's Cane. So I'm kind of wondering which one of these 2 are going to make it to 1,000 life first. I think that should be a rule in Magic. If you make it to some ridiculously high number of life, you win the game that way too. But I don't know if that's going to happen here. He also has 2 iconic cards, and it's not the Divine Offerings, and it's not the playset of Disenchants, but it is the reverse damage. So 2 white and 1 colorless. All damage you've taken from one source this turn is added to your life total instead of subtracted. So just like the card says, it reverses all that damage straight into life gain. I have not seen this played in a deck in a long time. So I'm glad it's out here. I can't tell if that artwork is sexy or dead scary, or a little bit of both. So I'm glad to see he's playing with that. Now we take a look at his sideboard. He's got 2 extra planes, a 3rd reverse damage in there, COP red, a couple COP blacks, some card that I don't even recognize, and I'm sure someone can tell me later. A couple extra divine offerings, 3 blue elemental blasts, and 3 red elemental blasts. So I'm excited to see these decks go at it. I think there's going to be a ton of life gain before anything happens. Kind of interested to see here if Felix can fireball for like 100 to win the game out. So I've said enough things. Let's move on to game number 1. And here we come in with game number 1. Matt won the Lord of the Dance competition, so he gets to be on the play. Felix will be on the draw. Matt slams down a Plains, followed by an Ivory Tower. Turn 1, already in the mode to gain some life. Felix says, cool, I'll match you, and slams down his own Ivory Tower. So, again, I think we're going to have a race to see how many life points Teleria can actually keep track of. Matt gains 1, goes to 21, and looks like he goes to just his lights. And that does help the glare a bit. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, oh, look at this. Matt's on 23, slams down a second Ivory Tower. No land needed for this game. Felix is on 24. Again, I think we're going to have some slow, long, well-developed games here. Matt runs up to 27 in his upkeep from his towers. Taps 2 for a Chaos Orb. Problem is he leaves it naked. No mana out there to send it Felix's way. And we can see those life totals running up. Matt to 29, Felix on 26 now. And the Chaos Orb's just going to sit there as a threat. Matt's going to be patient and hold it back. Felix produces a second Ivory Tower of his own. Again, board states look almost identical here. And no one is daring to do anything. Matt's at 33. Felix is up to 35. So the race is on. Matt's finding a candlestick. Solid play to produce the mana you need. Looks like Felix has a divine offering for Matt. Question is, where is he going to apply it to? He has 4 targets. Matt's doing tricky things with his candlestick and countering the divine offering. Felix is taking 2 and disenchant. Looks like the goal was to remove that candlestick, and it worked. Felix did lose a couple life there from the City of Brass Tap. So he put himself down to 39. I would say in the danger zone, but that doesn't seem accurate. Matt's activating Chaos Orb, and it's a hit. So 1 Ivory Tower finally in the bin. That's going to slow Felix's life gain down to only 2 or 3 a turn. They're both on 41 at this point. And just more of the same, passing back and forth. Matt's coming up with a Sindbad. That'll help him play possibly a couple things a turn. And Felix says, go ahead and get that shit on out of here. Sindbad gets promoted to field work on the farm, sorts to plowshares, and Felix shows up with a strip mine attacking Matt's blue source. I don't know if Matt's just holding everything in hand because there's nothing down that's a threat. But he does find another blue source, pumps out another island. And we're back to the life gain, draw, go portion of this match. Felix only on 48. Matt should be running up to 60 in his upkeep here. Yeah. This is getting disgusting. I feel bad for the aggro players that played against these two fine magicians this month, as I'm sure they were left in tears. So Matt coming up with a bunch of mana sources now. I think Felix says, look at my pretty red sleeves. That makes sense. And he has an Abyss. So even though there's no creatures on board, that thing will start murdering non-artifact creatures every upkeep. Taps 4 for a moat. Just insult to injury, so Tetravis is about the only creature left, that and Ornithopter, to come out and do anything. Again, every aggro player sheds a tear. I'm kind of crying in the background. This is just punishing. Felix says, I don't even think I'll need this, and throws a Spirit Link straight into the bin. Oh, here we go. Matt does find a Sylvan Library, and Felix has a counterspell real quick for it, but Matt has backup of his own and says, get that shit out of here. I win the counter war. Sylvan stays. So Matt's on 76, Felix on 79. I'd assume he's going to draw a few extra cards for 4 damage. Felix digging with a regrowth, followed by a disenchant, straight to Matt's Sylvan Library, and I think he goes and kicks the front door and says, take that. Makes sense. Card advantage is the big threat at this point. And Matt top decks another Sylvan Library, but Felix has yet another counterspell, and so does Matt. Wow, this is wild. It's like 2 decks playing the same thing, just cracking back and forth. We'll see if the True Control wins, or if the 4 Serra Angels can make it in. I think it's still going to be a while before we see anything done here. So Felix does have his Felden's Cane out. In case he gets to whatever it is, turn 53 or 54 when he runs out of cards, he'll just crack that, recycle his library. And Matt says he's going to the moon with life total. He plays out yet another ivory tower. And here comes the first Serra Angel. Oh, maybe not. I think Matt's 1 white shy of being able to play it, and he passes. The only bad thing is, with that ivory tower in play, Felix is only going to lose a net of 1 a turn. That's if he doesn't come up with another answer. Matt is taking some extra cards there, so speeding the game up. Slams down the first real threat, Serra Angel. And Felix, I feel like, has probably 20 or 30 answers in hand. I mean, I know it's not that many, but it's going to feel that way. Yeah, double bolt. Let's start with there. Yeah, first Serra Angel, straight to the bin. Only thing being here again, Matt is getting the extra card advantage. And I believe he wants to add to that here. Sindbad. And another Swords to Plowshares for Sindbad's face. Kind of makes you wonder if it would be better to Swords out the Serras, so they're out of the game. I could be wrong. I mean, these two know their deck a lot better than me. Just things that run through my head. And in the heat of the game, you just do what's available. He might have top decked that also. So again, Matt ripping all 3 cards with the Sylvan Library. That drops him down to a mere 69 life. Felix is on 59, and I mean, at this point in the game, he's drawing way slower and has a Felton's Cane. Matt's going to need to do a lot of work at this point to end this game before he runs out of cards. And taking all 3 again. Another Sylvan Library. And a new Sindbad. Matt finds a desert, so again, he's going to be able to play, 3+ cards a turn. Felix is only drawing 1. You feel like he's getting outraced here. Yeah, Matt taps the Sindbad, uses it, hits a desert, so I don't even know how many cards he has in hand. It's just an absolute ton. He's going to put 2 back. Wind up keeping, I think, about 4 with that Sindbad trigger. I could be wrong. But you can see, I mean, his deck is getting thin. Uh-oh. It looks like he's going to probably try and recall for a bunch there. Wow. He's asking for 4 counter spells and a Serra Angel. That's wild. He tapped 11 mana and he's getting back 5 cards here. Yeah, it doesn't need that 4th Ivory Tower or any of that other garbage. Wow, that was, I mean, that's huge. Throws in the bin of Control Magic and a Swords to Plowshares makes sense. So I feel like Serra Angel is going to hit the board and maybe even stay. So Sindbad rips a card for him. His draw card, Sylvan number 1. Putting 2 back, playing a strip line. The strip's going to be needed in case Felix does show up with a Maze of Ith. And I say that, but Matt just goes ahead and strips. Looks like a tropical island. Felix has Swords to Plowshares number 1. And just a pass. Matt has that counterspell, says get that on out of here. I need to get in for some damage every turn. Felix fireballing that Serra, and Matt plays out yet another counterspell. Just a pass. Sindbad doing work again. We can see now that Matt's graveyard is dramatically larger than his library. And he's still taking extra cards. So, yeah. Wow. He is on 89, swings in for 4, drops Felix down to 56, and that does jam down another Serra Angel. So now the game is moving. And he rips another land with Sindbad, so, I mean, everything's doing heavy lifting here. Matt runs up to 101 life. That is amazing. Swings in for 8, dropping Felix to 49 life. So, I'd say maybe he can feel the pressure, but I don't know if he can. And Matt does have a disenchant. Oh, wow. Ivory Tower in the bin for Felix, so no more life gain. You know, at this pace, we're 6 or 7 turns away from Matt polishing it off. Oh, he does answer back with another Ivory Tower. This is like 2 versions of the deck for X points. You know, it's like the original version with Serra Angels, and then the updated version with I'm not even going to bother with creatures. I'll kill you with my fireball. Yeah, Matt in for 8, dropping Felix to 41, and Serra Angel number 3 is entering play. That's huge. And a disenchant to the Ivory Tower. And another Sindbad. Ooh, Felix immediately finds another Ivory Tower. He is getting good at that. That's double drawing with Sindbad. Hits 2 lands. So even if he doesn't do anything with the Sylvans, he's still going to draw 3 cards this turn. And he's on a mere 125 life. I mean, at this point, you just have to... If you're Felix, you just have to pray that he just decks himself. And there's the 4th Serra Angel. Wrath of God would be real good for Felix right now, as he's on 29 and going to be taking 16 a turn from those Serras. He does gain 2 life in his upkeep from the Ivory Tower. Puts him on to 31, but the clock is real. I don't know if I've ever had 4 Serra Angels breathing down my neck, but I don't think I'd care for it. Yeah, look at his library. It's about the same height as his one island that sits next to it. Oh, this is huge. Reverse damage. This is mind-blowing. Matt has a counterspell, so Felix does not gain 16 life and instead drops to a life total of 15. Whew. That was huge, Felix. Matt regrowing 1 card. It's another counterspell. Probably a good idea. Felix goes up to 17. I mean, Matt's going to need an Island Sanctuary here soon just to stop drawing cards. Oh. Just takes 1. He hops up to 143 life and swings in for 16. Felix is down to 1. Taps 4. Wrath of God. And there's Matt's 19th counterspell. And Felix has another counterspell. And there's counterspell number 21. What a wild game. Well done by both of these old school magicians. They'll swap out some cards and take another crack at it. And here we go with game number 2. Matt won game number 1 by swinging in for 16 a turn with a whole playset of Serra Angels. Felix says, do you remember this cool little trick? Volcanic straight into Ivory Tower. Finds a second blue source. Oh, and look at this. Even more importantly, slams down a Sylvan Library. And Matt says, no thank you. Immediate disenchant for the Sylvan. Looks like his deck can handle the life gain, but can't handle the card draw. But Felix has another answer. Second Sylvan Library. Yeah, that's pretty good. And decides to pop out another land, drops a plateau, and passes. That plays down a tropical, and he's brought in Ice Storms from the board. Attacking Felix mana base. Felix immediately drawing extra cards with Sylvan, dropping down to 13. Which makes sense. I think he knows how slow this game's going to go. And he wants that life gain. I mean, he does have the pieces out already to draw. And I think everyone knows the secret to winning in old school is just outdrawing your opponent. I mean, you can rush them, but after that you need to outdraw them. Matt playing a regrowth and picking up a disenchant. Yeah, and takes away the Ivory Tower. Probably a really good play there. See if Felix runs into another one. Looks at 3 with the Sylvan. And he does run right into another one. So tower back online. Matt's still on the land destruction plan. And shows up with an Ivory Tower of his own. Looks like Felix is taking another extra card, dropping to 10. That's still sitting on 20. Taps 3 again, another Ice Storm. Really cracking at that mana base. Felix loses a Volcanic in that exchange. And again, takes another extra card. Goes down to 8. Finds a Chaos Orb, plays it, and goes down to 7. Wow. Matt's Ivory Tower hasn't done much work for him, as he's been under 5. Felix just taking one and slamming down a Maze of Ith. That maze is definitely going to make a difference. Long game. Matt's going to have to overcome that maze, and he's used a lot of land destruction already. So Felix still with a full grip of cards, back up to 12 life. Matt's firing down a Disenchant, and Felix has the answer Counterspell. And Matt's playing out another Ivory Tower. Felix taking a second card, life total back down to 10. Dropping a 9, finds a Counterspell. Or finds a Regrowth, plays that out, and picks up a Counterspell from the bin. Matt taps 5, tries to put pressure on the board, and Serra angels out. I feel like Felix is going to have a few answers for the Serra. Spirit links to Serra. And Felix does still have Maze of Ith and Chaos Orb down, so plenty of ways to answer that Serra in case it starts trying to crack in. Felix tapping forward, finds an Abyss. And there goes that Serra Angel and the Spirit Link. Felix did a 2-for-1 on himself, but at the same time, he is light years ahead of Matt. He's got the draw engine online. And I think he's got just an absolute ton of answers in his hand here. Oh, activating the Chaos Orb. Wants to take Matt off the Ivory Tower. And there it goes. Clean hit. Yeah, Felix is now back up to 20. Scratch that, 23 now. Takes an extra card, drops to 19. I mean, he's drawing cards like a madman. Matt finds one piece of his combo. It's kind of whoever's combo sticks on the playing field here. And Felix just casually drops out a Disenchant for his Sylvan Library. Kind of feel like Felix is in the driver's seat. And attacking Matt's life total with a Lightning Bolt. Oh, 3 more for Side Blast. That's 7 damage. Matt's down to 11. And so is Felix after he takes 2 from the Side Blast. Finds another Ivory Tower. And Divine Offering on Matt's Ivory Tower. Wow, he just keeps removing those pieces. Both on 11 though. But without Matt having direct damage, you just feel like that Felix is going to find the pieces he needs, load up with mana sources, and do that damage. Here we go. Another 4 to the face. Matt's dropping to 7. Felix is down to 11 with that Side Blast. But look at that. Next upkeep, he runs up to 17. Matt's still on 7. And he has so much removal, he pitches a Divine Offering straight to the bin. Yeah, Felix up to 23. Doing things with the Sylvan Library, taking extra cards. And I think he pitched out a Wrath of God. Who needs that thing? Yeah, taking extra cards again. Looks like he pitches a Swords to Plowshare. Takes an extra card, finds a 3rd Ivory Tower. Yeah, that's like the 240th nail to the coffin. Throws other things in his graveyard that he doesn't need. Matt does come up with a Sylvan Library on his turn, though. Yeah, Felix has the immediate answer, Disenchant. Sends that off to the bin. Felix is up to 34. Matt's still sitting on 7. And he just takes all 3 cards with that Sylvan. Looks like he throws an Abyss in the bin. Now Matt's win condition is mostly hoping Felix decks himself. I'm sure he does still have that Felden's Cane out there somewhere. And speak of the devil, there is that Felden's Cane. Oh, Matt counterspells. Felix has a red elemental blast for the counterspell. What an answer. He does not want to deck himself. Makes sense. Uh-oh, Matt has a disenchant. And Felix says that's fine, I'll shuffle up again. So his library just got restocked with a bunch of good cards. And again, he is very aggressively taking cards off the top. Matt blue elemental blast the lightning bolt, but Felix cracks back with an ancestral recall. Even more cards to the hand here. And there's 7 more points of damage, but Matt's got an answer. Felix got an answer, and that's it. Game number 2. That was a lightning bolt, a side blast. Matt plays a blue elemental blast. Felix plays a red elemental blast, and the damage resolves. That's all 7 to Matt's face. We'll move on to game number 3. So Felix takes a mulligan for game number 3. Matt's on the play and starts with the Ivory Tower. That's kind of been the power play around here. And Felix does the same. So just like game number 1. And Matt finds a Sindbad. So already trying to get a draw engine online. Makes sense. I love turning that Sindbad sideways and upkeep. And Felix has a bolt immediately for that Sindbad. Sindbad was not long for this world. Took some lightning to the face and now he's in the bin. Matt regrowthing on the Sindbad. Yeah, he really wants to get this draw engine going. Makes sense. Both these players are on 21. And here we go again. Matt's slam dunking down the Sindbad to the table. See how quickly Felix comes up with an answer. Oh. Goes to his draw and swords to Plowshare for Sindbad. He is out of the game. Ooh, second Ivory Tower for Matt. Felix does a Divine Offering. Yeah, more just draw-go action. I have a feeling this is going to be like the last couple games. Whoever gets their drawing an engine online and running will get way far ahead in card advantage and then finally lay the smackdown at the end. And here we go. That comes up with a Sindbad and another lightning bolt. And Matt has a blue elemental blast, says not today, lightning bolt. Sindbad needs to stay here. And a red elemental blast to make sure that lightning bolt resolves. So Felix is absolutely doing murderous things to Sindbad's. Life totals are stacking up. Matt's up to 32. Felix is on 27. Both players just drawing things and saying, no, you go. Matt does show up at the Sylvan Library. Let's see if Felix has a counterspell for it. Nope, just an immediate disenchant. Again, these two are just cracking back and forth at each other. Whatever you do, don't fast forward this game. I'm sure something's going to break out here before too long. And if it doesn't, maybe I'll start fast forwarding it. Not for sure what happened there. I can't see that Felix is discarding a Spirit Link. Not really a needed card at this point. Matt does show up with a Serra Angel, so threat on board, leaves 2 blue open, just to say, I got this Serra covered. And Felix shows up with the swords, and Serra's off to do some farm work. She's thrashing the fields. Matt gains 4 life from the swords, and the game moves on. Chaos Orb shows up to play. And Matt's got a disenchant, taking down the Ivory Tower, slowing down Felix's life gain, but he's already on 40 and shows back up immediately with another Ivory Tower. And Matt's got another disenchant for that tower. Another one to the bin. And Felix pitches some useless card to the bin. Ooh, Matt does have a COP red. That may be a problem for Felix. Matt's on 62 and can prevent some of that direct damage. Matt's going to cast an Ice Storm. And Felix doesn't really have a problem with that. I mean, he does still have 9 land in play after the Ice Storm resolves. Matt's finding his Candlestick. Didn't see that last game, saw it first game. And another Ice Storm. So again, just trying to shatter back the mana base, takes him off black, even though I shouldn't say that because Felix does have a City Brass, now 2 City Brass out. And Matt's flipping an orb, lining it up, and there it goes. I think he takes out another mana source. Oh, here we go. Matt's trying to play the Sylvan Library, and Felix shuts it down with a counterspell. Says, get that shit on out of here. Makes sense. Again, neither of the players have been able to establish their card advantage game. They're just cracking back and forth at each other here. And Matt comes up with another Sylvan, and Felix uses another counterspell for that. Matt finds a counterspell for his own. Red Elemental Blast, Blue Elemental Blast, more counterspell. Holy shit. Anyone else watching this? See if Matt has anything else. Yeah, tapping 3. Oh, using Candlestick. That makes sense. Tapping 2. Another counterspell. That was crazy. Holy shit. I don't know what was that, like 8 counterspells in that one turn. But Matt does get his Sylvan online, and Felix throws down an Abyss. I think Matt's going to be drawing 3 a turn. We'll see. I could be wrong. But, yeah. Got a ton of cards in hand. And Felix shows up with Divine Offering, followed by Mana Drain, followed by an Ancestral. I'm going to have to slow this video down. We are getting wild here. So things are actually starting to happen. Matt does have his Draw Engine online. And by Draw Engine, he just has a shit ton of life, and he's paying 4 life for extra cards from the Sylvan. Felix is regrowthing a card. And he picks 2 for a disenchant, and there we go. Draw Engine shut down. I think they know they used all the counters in that counter war there to get the Sylvan out. So Matt does have a couple extra mana from the Mana Drain. And look at this, he's going to recall for 3. No response from Felix. Matt's pitching 1 Serra Angel and 2 Sindbad. And he knows for sure he wants at least 1 Sylvan back, a Mana Drain, and a Counterspell. So Sylvan, protection. Makes sense. Recall in the bin. Matt's leaving 2 open. Also makes sense. Chaos Orb hits the board, and Matt counterspells it. Says, no sir, please get this shit on out of here. Here comes the next Sylvan Library. Wow. This game's been pretty wild. Yeah, Matt just stacking all the cards straight to his hand. Dropping down to a nice even 58. And Felix finds one of his own. He's on 40. Matt has a Mana Drain, and oh, look at this. Felix evens things out by Disenchant. Both their Sylvans go to the bin. I think this is he who has the most Sylvan winneth, something like that. Matt does still have to address that Abyss if he wants to come cracking in with the Serra Angels again. Finds an Ancestral of his own. Rips 3 new cards. Oh, disenchant for the Abyss. So he did find that. Also found a Serra Angel. Slams down another island real quick, like. Makes sense. Uh-oh. Felix is tapping 5. Fireball for 4, straight to the Serra's face. This is turning into quite the marathon. Matt does still have that ivory tower up. And he finds another Serra Angel. Digging around for a couple white mana to be able to slam that thing down. And another ivory tower. Ah, here comes a Maze of Ith. I wonder if Matt has any land destruction left in the deck. Oh, there it is. Right when it's needed, Strip Mine comes out. Rips the ivory tower, but a Psy Blast straight from Felix takes that angel down. These are some wild exchanges. Seems like we go very long periods of time, many turns in a row, nothing happening, followed by extreme amounts of action in short bursts. Oh, here comes the Felden's Cane. And Matt counterspells that, says, get that shit out of here. I want to see you run out of cards before I do, if that's what it comes down to. I feel like Matt's drawn a few extra cards, so we'll see how this one works out. I believe Matt did have one Felden's Cane of his own in the board. See if he puts that in here. Now, both just building resources again. Mana everywhere. Let's all have some mana. And ivory tower for Felix. Matt moves up to 100 life. Felix is in the high 30s, 38 right now. Uh-oh, Felix does find a Sylvan Library. And Matt finds yet another counterspell. I think he doesn't know that there's only supposed to be 4 of those or less in a deck. Plays with a even 16 of them. Makes sense. We can see both these graveyards standing high over their library next to them. That's got all kinds of protection with that COP red. All kinds of life with those 3 ivory towers. And he is down to 3 cards. Felix could Ancestral him. That's game and draw step. That drops to 2. Oh, this is brutal. Rips a desert, throws it down, passes to Felix. And at this point, Felix really doesn't have to do anything. Let's see if it's a Felden's Cane. There it is. Wow. Counterspell from Felix and says, no, sir, please get that shit out of here. That was crazy. He does have backup red elemental blast. So Felix Millstone deck with no millstones just won the game and the match. That was wild. Way to watch 2 players run through a deck. If you stuck it out this long, that's pretty cool. You should win a small prize. It may or may not come in the mail. I won't be sending it. As always, thanks for watching The Orb.